With a lot of information I have. But one of the reasons why I started working in this area was because I felt that if people only knew, I had an inkling at the time, I said if people only knew how utilities waste the money for these programs, we would have independent energy efficiency and we would have public power. That would be a driver for public power. So that's really why I did it. And now we have Marin Clean Energy. And as hard as it was to get Marin Clean Energy up and running, 5 years, 6 years, 7, I think it was 9 years overall to get that rolling. It's even harder to get energy efficiency, if you can believe that. That was the hardest fought thing at the legislature. I was lobbying for the CCA law, and the greenest people at the legislature nearly beat up Paul Finn in the hallway because of the energy efficiency provisions in the bill. So the bodies are buried in energy efficiency. But I've had the good fortune to meet some incredibly wonderful people who are working on energy efficiency programs in California. One of them who is no longer working on energy efficiency because he's been basically driven out of the state. He was the best of them all, and he told me an amazing story when I first met him in 2002. He was a mathematician out of college and got a job at a utility to kind of stay out of the draft. He was a Latino. He was going to be on the front line. So he was, like all utility employees, they're encouraged to join local groups. I mean, he called it infiltrate, but you know, they're upfront about it. They'll come to your group and they'll sit there and you know, give the utility's point of view, and then they'll go back and report to the utility on what you're doing. So he said that he had chosen to get involved with an ecology group when he worked for a utility in Louisiana, and he thought, you know, I mean, he was very open to the, you know, learning something, and he learned a lot. And then later he moved to Pennsylvania. He was working for a utility there, and he said he witnessed the fastest stock drop in history of any utility. So any idea where that was? TMI, 3 Mile Island. Yeah, he was there. He was doing their annual reports. So after the accident, a few months into it, he was like paying the people for the, you know, for the cleanup workers, which was a total nightmare. But what do you think was the biggest problem for general public utilities after the 3 Mile Island accident? Biggest financial problem? Insurance? That they had? No.
Lawsuits?
No. The cost of replacement power was driving them into bankruptcy. And so Rich said to the management, well, I learned about this thing called energy efficiency in the ecology group. Maybe we should try that. And they said, you know how to do that? And he said, well, I could figure it out. So he did. And he did what is very likely the best energy efficiency program that's ever been done. It had good funding from the utility because they were desperate to save energy for a change. And it was all residential program, which belies the California claim that utilities make that there is no savings in residential programs. About 3 years into it, he had saved the company from bankruptcy, and they were on their feet again, and they were looking at each other going, why are we saving energy? We're not in that business. We're in the business of selling energy. So he saw the handwriting on the wall, and he left. And I've used up an incredible amount of my time. But anyway, let's get going on the slideshow. I was asked to put forth a
which button?
Just the side
quick, it's going to be very quick now, the standard offer program, which is what we had proposed many years ago in the proceedings.
It's the right button.
And standard offer program is the opportunity to save energy is offered to everyone under the same terms and conditions. It guarantees results because you are only paying for the energy that was saved. You want to have a good measurement system, but the organization that implements the program or administers the program takes the risk. And right now, ratepayers are at risk. So what is truly wonderful about it is that you can play at any level. You can start with $5,000 program. I mean, the contracts are available. 2-week turnaround of 4 or 5 page application, and that's compared to what's happening now, which is a long, up to 2-year process to get your application approved. Now, standard offer programs save more energy per dollar. Texas has this main standard offer programs in this country, and they were saving 40% more than California. Now they're saving twice as much, and that's partly because our energy efficiency measurements were cooked. But they allow no compact fluorescent lights, which is the easy savings that we have in California. So they are, in Texas, if you might be, oh, it's Texas, but these programs, this whole system was created by Public Citizen, and ACEEE, and EDF. So here's what it produced, the infrastructure. 79 program providers in California. In Texas, there's 562 with 1/10 of the funding. And so you can see that's local jobs. Right now, the 79 providers are, there's very large programs, but they're not locally focused. The other thing is that they're much more comprehensive. In Texas, they were concentrating much more on shell measures. In California, 94% was lighting. So this is going to make a huge difference in your grid, and that's one of the really sad things about the California programs is they don't pay any attention to the grid. They're completely disconnected. The energy efficiency that's done does not, in fact, reduce the number of power plants you have to build in California because they just don't connect with each other. The other wonderful thing about standard offer program is that they comply with the community choice law. Right now we have a utility monopoly on energy efficiency, and the utilities have been doing something called local government partnerships, by which they kind of snare the local governments into going along with them and keeping quiet about getting their own money. So that's the situation we have now. You've got to kowtow to the utilities if you want any energy efficiency money, and there's an enormous amount being spent right now. Right now, the Energy Upgrade California is the major program that is starting to give money for residential programs. And so what just happened in the legislature where they cut the gas funding for energy efficiency and gave that to the general fund means that program will be virtually cut in half. What's kind of sick about it is that the other half of the money is coming from stimulus programs, but this program was designed really for the PACE funding, and so it prioritizes affluent homeowners in coastal areas, and therefore you're having a federally stimulus-funded program which does not have anything in it for renters, apartment dwellers, low to middle income people who don't have enough to to pay the price, which is $4,000 to $10,000 after the rebates. So anyway, it's a problem right now. So anyway, I would welcome you guys to take a look at our website. This is part of the Marin Clean Energy. That was a little nod to our energy efficiency work, and but that's our website up there. It really looks like that, and that's our logo. And we urge you to go on our site. We have a lot of energy efficiency information. We are also putting some stuff up there about the nuclear tragedies going on.